Hello, hello, hello. Hey, hold on, hold on. Okay, good. We're good. We are good. Oh my god. I mean, this is not the first time, but I'm so happy when things just work perfectly as far as like setting up the scene and everything. But we continue. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Justin, and you're watching and are listening to episode 398 of DangIT Prodcast. 2 episodes away from 400. Not to set your guys' hopes up, but we might do something and may not be doing anything special for episode 400. It kind of depends. I know that whatchamacallit, that lands actually near the end of February. Actually, I think that's perfect. It'll be the last podcast of February and it's gonna land on 400. So that's super nice. Oddly enough, it is going to be ending on this month that is jam-packed with other video games, to which now that I'm kind of looking at the whole perspective of everything and keeping account of all the things that I'm currently doing like for the channel and everything, that's gonna be really tough. I don't know if I can do any of that. I'm not sure if I can maintain all of that, but in any case, let's just focus on this particular week because it's been pretty jam-packed. As you can tell, I am not really accompanied by anyone else, so hopefully I can do a fairly good amount of like justice in kind of doing a deep dive into essentially for things that matter to me in the Nintendo Direct that happened earlier this week. But before we jump into that, I do want to talk a little bit about some progress like on my own as far as Pokemon. I guess technically speaking, it's also kind of progress on the channel on Twitch as well when it comes to Pokemon. But also, in addition to that, I just wanted to just check it out on everyone. How's everyone doing? We are live right now, so if anyone wants to like feel free and jump in, say anything, please by all means feel free to let me know. It's kind of an interesting dynamic. We've done live stream podcasts for a while now. I don't remember the number exactly, but we started doing that since I believe like one New Year's Day some time ago, somewhere like in the apartments that the guys used to live in. And then we started to make that a little bit more of a common thing, especially when they were living at a different house. Man, those were some crazy times. The fact is that like we've done this for so long to a point like so much time has passed, the dynamics has shifted quite a lot, and now everything's just kind of like calmed down, which I'm totally down for. But I also kind of found in myself that like I kind of like to like change things up here and there whenever I can, as long as it doesn't really like require too much legwork just to pick everything back up again as far as setting these things up. Because now that I've got everything down to a relative science, I don't really want to change things like the scenes, for example. I can never go back now. I've been so used to just setting everything up manually, and I now have a greater appreciation over everything that's like involved as far as like setting up and like putting stuff away. So yeah, some crazy like self experience. So listen, if you find me somewhere on like someone else's set, you could be rest assured I got them covered. I know how to move things. In any case, that's a weird tangent. As far as how the week's been thus far, aside from like all the crazy events, this work week for me has been pretty chill actually. It was a bit strong in the beginning of the week, no lie, and no, I'm gonna be honest, the direct definitely kind of helped boost the mood for me quite a bit. The direct happened, was it Wednesday or Tuesday? Give me a second. Oh, it was Wednesday. Wow, that was like, it felt like an extra day longer than that. But yeah, that direct was really like really good for just like just in the grand, like just smack in the week or in the middle of the week. And I just really liked everything about it, so much so that I kind of want to just talk a little bit more about it. I know that I did a little reaction of it that very evening that it was presented. I went through the same like process of prepping myself to not see any spoilers whatsoever. I literally sat down. I forgot what I was doing. Oh yeah, no, I was doing a couple of things to keep myself busy from like 2 to 7 or something like that. I think I started stream like a little bit earlier that night too, because I was able to. And I'm glad I got down to a science that I can just do this like on like stream and not worry about like things like popping up. Essentially, if I could provide any type of advice whatsoever, if I could provide any type of advice for anyone who wants to due to like their circumstances or schedule that doesn't allow them to be able to watch or stream doing reactions and stuff like that, just live, in a world now that social media, it just gets saturated with, you know, the latest stuff that happens that also includes the Nintendo Direct. If you want to avoid all of that, all you really got to do is especially with Nintendo, because what they like to do is they will post their I guess the scheduled live stream, in which case it was like Wednesday at like 2 p.m. Pacific time. You actually want to save that Pacific live stream to your like watch later playlist. That's just a general like defaulted like playlist that's given to you or created for you like from YouTube, and you could just try it from there. I couldn't tell you about any other like live events that don't like have like a YouTube link. Maybe Twitch, like Twitch VODs and whatnot. It might be a little bit difficult to navigate like through that a little bit because search stuff is not that great over there. But when it comes to YouTube, all you gotta do is just save that specifically, and I mean you can actually find yourself like a really quick link to just like a general web browser, and then like type in the specific URL to that playlist for you that's the watch later, and you can literally bypass a lot of things like that. I actually didn't even think that far. I put in my save for later playlist. I went onto YouTube and literally just like physically covered a good portion of like what I was seeing and just focused on the left hand side with the watch later playlist icon like right there, and I was able to avoid pretty much everything that way. But if you want to take the extra step, then you can definitely do that. And it totally works if you just have a weird well, I wouldn't say weird, if you just have a work schedule that doesn't let you off until like the evening, then you can totally do that. But yeah, that was just like a little bit of like shorthand advice for sure about like how you can possibly go about doing this type of stuff, because I do love reactions. I've been watching a couple of other people react specifically on pretty much the last thing that was like mentioned in the Nintendo Direct. We will talk about that in a little bit. It's definitely included in my listings, but I got a whole like, I wouldn't say it's a whole like like shopping list, although I think it could be a shopping list of just like things of interest. Not everything is listed here was like, not everything listed is something that was included only, you know. There's definitely a bunch of other things like No Man's Sky, for example. There was also a couple of indies like here and there that popped up as like just like a really quick montage, but these ones I kind of want to just give a quick highlight because they are very relevant, they're very impactful for Nintendo. Hold on, Axe has redeemed the Kirby. Welcome, Axe. And I will go ahead and redeem the Kirby. We were just getting started talking about the Direct some more, actually. Truth be told, we were kind of wanting to get a whole crew, or at least another person to kind of give their advice, because I did do like a live stream of like the Direct earlier when it actually did premiere that evening, the evening of that like premiere. And well, I can still like elaborate on like specific things that really caught my eye. Maybe kind of like afterthought after which like all that came down. But what we have here, I was here for it. Yes, Axe was also here during the live reaction for it. For me, well, I wouldn't say live reaction, but it kind of was. Again, I got it down to a science, so we don't have to worry about like me getting spoiled unless I do not turn off notifications. That's another thing. Turn off notifications. Like I can only like speak out to Apple users here, but it's literally when you open up your home screen and you just like swipe down like on the right hand side of the screen, and you just have like one of those default like icons, focus that is, and all you gotta do is just hit that, and you can just select it for like whatever it is. I chose work because yeah, it was, and I did not get any notifications whatsoever, so it was great. just had to turn it off later. But trying to go like chronologically. I don't know if this is all chronological. I just kind of like I hopped over to Nintendo's YouTube site YouTube page, and I just like look chronologically of all the announcement stuff. And at the very end, when it shows just like the direct itself, then it's like, okay, everything preceding that is pretty much good to go. I might have missed a couple things, but this is a pretty good handful of things that I wanted to talk about. First one was actually Fire Emblem Warriors. That actually started up the entire direct. If you guys don't know, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Fire Emblem fan, but I am one. I am a Fire Emblem fan. Ever since quick little history is when I picked up Fire Emblem like Awakening for the 3DS. I watched my brother played like the original one that released on the West. That included Lynn, included Hector, Eliwood, and I didn't really get it at that point. But I then proceeded to play like a demo. Like this game already came out, and I decided to play a demo just because it just reminded me of those moments where I watched my brother play Fire Emblem, and I actually loved the demo. It was like more than a sizable amount of like content for me to just kind of dive into. I was like, I gotta have more. So here we are, fast forward, having played that one, Fire Emblem Fates, all 3 paths on that one. Well, there was another one. Oh yeah, like Echo Shadows of Valentia, which was like the remake to Fire Emblem Gaiden. Yeah, I believe so. So that was the remake, and then we jumped over to Fire Emblem Heroes for a bit, and then Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I only cleared like one route. So I never played a single Fire Emblem game. It is a tactical RPG, and it's kind of interesting because I'm not sure if this is one of those games where it's like you'll like it or you'll absolutely dislike it. For me, what did it was definitely the presentation. Fire Emblem's like Awakening started off with like a nice somber like track playing in the back as like your main protagonist like wakes up like from the ground. You're greeted by Chrom, his his sister Lissa, as they were just making like they're making like routine like walks just to check out like the scope of the land for Altissa, I believe. Not Altissa, Elise. And Chrom is a leader of the shepherds. Even though he is of royal blood, he's like the crown prince. He actually like runs kind of like a military branch essentially that just kind of comprises of like some more so of a mercenary group, if you will, or a small army, if anything, that will just go around just kind of do patrols and stuff like that. And that's kind of how the game like begins. You're just like this random dude with a lot of prophecy like built up behind you that you don't really know about, except for the fact that you do some pretty crazy stuff, and those are just omens that you hear. But not to like fully focus on the Awakening stuff of things. This new Fire Emblem Warriors game, which is dubbed Three Hopes, follows the I'm not sure if it follows completely the timeline, but it's kind of in that like universe of Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is the latest like console released Fire Emblem game, in which you have the option to choose like 3 houses. One was with the what was it, the Black Eagles. The other one was like the Blue Lions, and then the lions, and then yellows were like the deer, something like that. Apologies, it's been like a good while since I played like those 3 games, but this seems to take a different like side of the tale, almost like a what if scenario, and I'm very curious about it. And you know what, I have a lot of hope in this one because I'm not really a huge like player of like the whatchamacallit, the Warriors games. That would be like things that like show up like, you know, One Piece Pirate Warriors, or more recently Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. But having played Age of Calamity and seeing how they took care of like addressing like some of the storyline bits as well as the characters showing up there and kind of like a mix of the combat, I have pretty high hopes with this one because I really did enjoy Age of Calamity. I know that there was a lot more in like the post game, which is why I kind of give this one like bit of a good like thumbs up without even knowing exactly what to expect. um I just love games that have like a post game content type of bit, something that's like, okay, well, because like in contrast, I feel like Breath of the Wild, for example, didn't have too many like post game stuff, so the main game kind of was like the big highlight. But games with post games obviously give you additional challenges and things to find out. um but in any case, yeah, I do really look forward to seeing how three hopes will play out. And just as far as the presentation too, it looks a lot better, let me tell you that, than the OG Fire Emblem Three Houses. Because look, as much as I like the game, I cannot excuse like how bad it sometimes looks. Environments, just like some food. They definitely put a lot more focus on like character models and just the overall like dynamic of the gameplay. But in any case, I am doing look for that. Looking forward to that. And I think the next thing that popped up for me was the Advance Wars like reboots, which is 1 and 2. We heard about these like a while back, and I think they were either delayed or it was simply a matter of they was coming out like later on. Actually, no, they were kind of delayed. Yeah. But essentially, before Fire Emblem, well, I wouldn't say before Fire Emblem because like that one has a longer track history. But Advance Wars pretty much plays like that, but with just modernized weapons and stuff like that. And based on like what I've been seeing, both like previously and just recently, it looks really great. They have like a lot of like flair in the animation department for a lot of the characters, even just non like combat like scenarios. It's great. I am really looking forward to that, and I'll definitely give that a purchase. Whether it's day one or not, we'll see. But that's pretty much all I have to really say about Advance Wars. I've never played it myself. I would be able to play it, but I would need to probably get my hands on one, like maybe a Game Boy Advance copy, or get a copy of like a Wii U and be able to download that through its virtual console. And I should probably make a decision on that later, like, or pretty soon. But aside from that, I want to talk real quick about Mario Strikers Returns, or that's why I just titled this like topic here. But it's Mario Strikers. Actually, I don't remember what the title of the game is for the Switch, the Nintendo Switch, right? I've actually forgotten that there was a Wii title for the Mario Strikers series, so it wasn't just the GameCube one. There was also a Mario Strikers Charged for the Wii. I do not remember the gameplay on that one, but it's one of those that was regarded just kind of like Mario Hoops for the DS as like one of those really like cool games that unfortunately never got to see the light of day until recently with, you know, this Mario Strikers entry. Hopefully Hoops will like follow suit later on or sometime in the future. But that's super cool. I want to see a little bit more, but they definitely add in a lot of interesting aspects to this one, as far as just like the multiplayer involved, the number of people that can be like in one party at a time. Like, oh, hold on, sorry Axe, I didn't see all the other comments. Actually, give me a second. But yeah, most post game for Breath of the Wild was its DLC for sure. The only Mario Sports games that I've actually played are Mario Sports Mix and baseball. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I got you. I think I played like a fair bit of like some like here and there, but my thing is that like I think I don't really stick to many of them. The only one I like really stuck with was tennis, because I ended up playing tennis and I liked tennis for, well, it was a weird type of thing because like I don't think I was into tennis at the time, but we ended up getting Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube, and because it was just like, highly regarded, and it ended up like having me like actually try out tennis for the first time. And you know, I had like an entire high school career, if you will, of tennis because of it, and it was a lot of fun. I don't regret it. So seeing Mario sports games like, you know, soccer, or well, Strikers here, it's great. Honestly, I'm glad that they decided to do something with like the return of one of these existing ones. But I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the fence on this one though, because just like with the golf one that just recently came out, I was really interested in it, but I ended up like really just not picking it up. I still haven't yet, and I don't know why. Like, I think it's mainly because the reviews of it say that it's great, but you know, it's not like the greatest experience. There's like a fair number of reasons as to why the challenges could be kind of and when it comes to games that they might have like a strong like single player campaign or story, if you will, but if it's kind of more like focused on multiplayer stuff, there's a chance, unless it's Mario Kart and Mario Party, I may not get it. So we'll see about Strikers. We'll see how that plays out. We'll see. I think if there was a little bit more, like, if I know a couple of my friends are gonna like get it, then there's probably a chance that I would too. Which I'm also kind of the same way with Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3 actually had like a bit of like a feature for their salmon run, so they were just showing some like new things. I'm not really too familiar with it, but it looks like there's like a big kind of like a boss like challenge near the end of the salmon run. And yeah, I actually was just generally speaking like interested in Splatoon 3 because you know, when the first Splatoon game came out, Nintendo's like, we'll put quote unquote Nintendo's answer to like a competitive like kind of shooter, like team-based shooter game, if you will, with a twist, because you know Nintendo's always like that. I honestly didn't really expect Splatoon to really stick around. I kind of expected it to be kind of like ARMS, you know. And just to date this is February 2022, in which we only had the one entry of ARMS, a couple of DLC stuff, and it just got featured in Smash Brothers. And after that, we haven't really seen much of ARMS after the fact. But I kind of figured that like Splatoon wouldn't really make it too far as like titles. But you know, Splatoon 3 got like announced, so like clearly people are really picking up this game, and it's really appealing for a lot of people. So I think I will give it a try. If anything, probably would just play like 3 like from the start. That's kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious. What do you all think about Splatoon 3, like as far as your experience, or you know, any general like peak interest, even if you haven't played it before? Because I just kind of been observing the game like from afar, and I never really thought of it to like really go like far out as far as its success. But good thing I was wrong about that, because it's just another new like IP that like Nintendo can really like utilize and kind of be the forefront to advertise the fact that, hey, go get a Switch because we got Splatoon, you know. Although, quick side tangent, right? I heard that we might, or at least there's a wish to put like Call of Duty games onto the Switch. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm just gonna put that energy out there because I just felt like that came like back to me from the universe. So I'm gonna push it back, and or like pass it back with the same energy, and say that like that's kind of cool. We'll see though. We'll see. Access. It looks interesting. I never really played the Salmon Run before. Yeah, I mean, for me, I just haven't played any of it. But I mean, if it's a game that like, especially for if it's Splatoon, like, I don't know about the performance on like Splatoon 2, but damn, dude, like, we know that Nintendo makes compromises for like games as far as the resolution and frame rate. This is one of those games where you need to put a priority on the frame rate, just as you did Mario Odyssey. But I won't really like fully go into like talks about resolution and frame rates, because I did just talk about a Warriors game earlier. But I'm gonna shift over to our boy Kirby here, and his the new feature that's been included in Forgotten Lands and in this particular trailer reveal, Mouthful Mode. And you know, it's one of those things where like, okay, well, I guess I should really kind of like elaborate on what it is. So Kirby obviously has he's best known for having a copy ability, which allows him to inhale whatever it is, whether it be foods or enemies or like items, and he could transform into the abilities that thing has, essentially. You know, sword fighters get, like, you get Sword Kirby, for example, right here. fire Kirby, ice Kirby, a parasol, Kirby with a parasol. But you know, they tackled an interesting concept. What if Kirby decided to inhale something that's a little bit bigger than him? We know that this dude has like a pocket dimension like within him, but obviously he's a small boy thing, baby. Kirby is baby. But so essentially how they try to resolve this is that, like, like, what if Kirby decides to take in a car? Like, well, does he just become like wheel Kirby? Essentially Kirby turns to a wheel that can like propel itself forward and turns. That's the that's his copy ability. This time they decided to be like, no, what if Kirby like takes in like an item just partially, and he can literally just manually like make it move to its own will. Oh, but let me see. Axe saying gonna eat dinner, so I'm gonna log off. Okay, take care, Axe, and have a good dinner as well. So Mouthful Mode essentially is like you take in a car, you can take control of that actual car and drive fast. You take in a vending machine, you just become the vending machine, and you dispense sodas and drinks at like your enemies. There's also the light bulb Kirby, where like you just take in a one giant like light bulb and you just shine lights everywhere. And there's also like a kite form, and it's like, that's weird, but okay. Giving you some real like Paper Mario, if not Mario Odyssey vibes for sure, where when you throw things like as Cappy, for example, you have the ability to transform and take over that like being's like body, whether it be inanimate or just like physical. It actually was kind of like a varied thing in the Odyssey game. So it really does lean towards it. It really does now feel like a Kirby Odyssey type of game. And you know what? I'm kind of all for it. Honestly, Kirby doesn't take itself like too seriously, right? Because even though like we're talking about like a puffball that literally can like take on like celestial beings, sure, and literally save the universe, sure, but it doesn't really take itself too seriously. Despite that, I was actually going through some of the previous like Kirby games through Switch Online's like little membership, where you were able to access like the NES, Super NES. We don't have Kirby 64 quite yet, so I wasn't able to do that. But the Kirby format hasn't really changed a lot. If you go into like OG Dream and like Kirby's like Dreamland, the mechanics from there to like say Amazing Mirror, like as far as the standard platform Kirby, has not changed at all. And I feel like a 3D platforming Kirby has like that potential to make things different, to change things up, kind of like how Pokemon Legends Arceus or Arceus has kind of changed the formula quite immensely. So I'm looking forward to it trying to take a different type of direction. Although, like, bear in mind, Kirby still needs to utilize his like previous abilities still. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they distribute Mouthful Mode, and how integrated does that become, or is it just kind of like a nice little cute gimmick as you navigate through the areas? So we still got a lot more to see about that. But okay, I want to talk about a certain franchise that actually I was not really aware of or hardly remembered until Phil brought it up to me a fair like month or so ago. Klonoa. So Klonoa has been a franchise that had appeared in the PlayStation 1 days and even the Game Boy Advance days. And I was curious about like this old franchise, but I knew that in order for me to do that, in order to even like get some experience playing a Klonoa game, like through, well, I guess legal matters really, is to acquire a Game Boy like advanced version of like one of the games. It is possible to do that. You need to have a Wii U console and just access it through like the Wii U's like virtual console. To which I would say that I don't have any issues acquiring a Wii U at this point. Like, I have a couple of prospects where it's like, okay, it's definitely possible to like if you really went out of your way and you weren't like trying to like physically like, or at least online shop for something. I mean, you could too. Um, but like getting a Wii U is probably not an issue at all. But I'm still kind of like on the fence about that. But this is kind of one of the reasons why I don't really need this this kind of like route to take, because I think what Nintendo is going to do here is just simply bring back some old IPs that definitely deserved some like spotlight, honestly, and just kind of make it an ease of access through the modern console, which would be the Switch. So they're putting Klonoa 1 and 2, it seems, like in one package. And I am curious as to what would the feedback end up being. I really hope, though, it becomes like very Beefling says hi, by the way. Hi, Beefling, how's it going? We're just going over the Direct in a little bit more detail. We pretty much made it up to Kirby, and we just moved over to Klonoa. So, obviously, like, Klonoa is an old franchise, and I hardly had not, like, picked it up until, like, our buddy Phil, Motion Man 64 on Twitch as well, who had mentioned this to me, because I lived under a rock. I never really heard about the name Klonoa, but I have seen the character before. So I'm just really curious as to like how well like this will end up like succeeding, because depending on advertisement, depending on how people like engage in the content for that one, talking about it, we might see further projects for like this old franchise and start anew. I kind of am I'm forward to that when it comes to whatchamacallit. I guess technically speaking, jumping a little bit ahead, Xenoblade Chronicles is kind of the same way too. In the sense that like it's gonna breathe new life because of the fact of its success of the more recent titles that got released. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. Speaking of, it actually seems to be a common like theme. A lot of old franchises kind of getting like breathed in new life in them. What was it? Live Alive is something that never showed up on the West, but it seems to be a pretty ancient like title for a game. Is now getting the HD 2D treatment. So it's the how do they go about it? It is it's a cross-generational type of game, or at least it's an RPG type of game that deals with like you controlling characters from different timelines, and different mechanics seems to like be involved in each and every one of them. So it's actually really interesting. It's kind of reminding me of Octopath Traveler, not just by the visuals, but mainly just kind of like how you have different controls of different characters and they all have like functioning like purposes. And I'm curious about that, which reminds me, I should definitely play Octopath Traveler soon. I now have a physical copy of it, and Triangle Strategy is going to come out like soon. So this is another thing to add on the list, including Live Alive, right? So I'm looking forward to like much more about that one. Speaking of which, Triangle Strategy is the next thing I want to talk about. I feel like with Triangle Strategy, I'm not like super hyped for this one. I know it looks great, but I feel like I'd be a little bit more like hyped if I had played the whatchamacallit, Octopath, first and foremost. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is Chrono Cross. It's a pretty old game. We talked about it previously before about like why Chrono Cross and not like say Chrono Trigger. Honestly, I don't really know too much about Chrono Cross over like Trigger, so I'm glad that they actually decided to go with Cross first, and we might, depending on the success of like this one, kind of like showing back up on the Switch, we might see something later on in the future with Chrono Trigger. I mean, I think the last, probably the last like ports and releases for Chrono Trigger were probably like maybe like Steam and like the DS version. So I just know personally, I would love to have finished Chrono Trigger, but I got stuck pretty early on. I didn't know what to do. So it would be great to kind of go back into that, right? Right. So next thing I want to talk about, it's about Mario Kart. Guys, Mario Kart 8 is not going to die, okay? We saw like earlier, and this is not one of the highlight things, but I'm gonna mention it anyway. Um, Disney had like a racing game that was like shown up on this direct, and I was like, you know what? It looks kind of nice, but the Mario Kart's gonna show up and like completely just leave that one in the dirt. Little did I know it was gonna be Mario Kart 8 Booster Course DLC plus expansion pack, final mix, and Knuckles featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Also, Mario Kart 8 Never Dies. All both titles are completely fictional. Nintendo, don't go after me with your ninjas. But essentially, what they're doing is that they have this roadmap, of releases, like different courses, like from the different previous Mario games. So they're literally making Mario Kart 8 Ultimate. They're bringing every course back. Well, not every course, I don't know. Well, if they did, that's crazy. But they're bringing a lot of courses, and they're going to spread that over the span of it was 2023, maybe the end of 2023. But that's crazy, dude. They're expanding it, and I think a lot of people probably are questioning, like, why? Why would you do this instead of like release on Mario Kart 9? It's because of the money. It's because Mario Kart 8 sells so well, and rightfully so. Honestly, like, for a game that was from the Wii U era, it stands the test of time as far as just like the art style, the amount that's been put into that game, and just like how it couples so well with the console itself, which is in this case the Switch. All of a sudden, well, I mean, like, we all had like sales for like Mario Kart 8 with a Switch like bundle, and people would definitely do that because that's a free like game right there. Even though like Mario Kart 8 didn't show up like on the Switch like the day of the release, it did show up I think like a month or two after, I believe. For the most part, that was just Breath of the Wild's like timeline there. But essentially, like, you'll probably find that a lot of like Switch owners have Mario Kart 8 just cause. I will tell you that Mario Kart 8 is great. It's fantastic. Especially with the included like 200cc mode added into it. But it's also just a really good game that, like, in comparison to all the other Mario Kart like titles, this one is just the most accessible to just the Switch and just the current console, just generally speaking. It really takes up on every single mechanic that you know of the previous games, except for Double Dash, and then they refine it. Listen, at least they have the gall to add in Double Dash like stages, but they won't add in the Double Dash feature that we all asked for. Dude, bro, like, anyway, that's a side tangent. But otherwise, it is pretty much like the most improved like version of Mario Kart like ever. And honestly, to make a game that even surpass Mario Kart 8, the mechanics and all the jazz that they put into that game is like incredibly difficult. So I understand that. And the fact is that they just want to ride the money train for as long as they can. So you'll still see, like, there's still people who pick up, like, that are still picking up, like, Nintendo Switches. And one of the, like, most approachable games that they're going to get is Mario Kart. Because, like, literally, like, probably one of the first games that show up right next to, like, a search, an Amazon search of, like, a Nintendo Switch, it's probably Mario Kart 8. Not gonna lie. And whatever new game that comes out, But Mario Kart 8 definitely just like appeals greatly to a wide like range of audience. So it makes sense. And now they are just really doubling down on just the money milking machine by putting like a span of like two years worth of just content. And you know what? I think it's pretty smart. I think that's a pretty smart move for them. And it'll be like a nice, I wouldn't say it's a money grabbing, and that's all it is, even though it kind of is. Essentially, it gives you a lot more of a reason to go pick up the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. The expansion pack, as we've talked about before, To have the entire bundle. I believe it's like $50 either more or like just $50 versus like your $25 for like the OG like Switch Online experience. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just kind of like bringing up numbers from the back of my head. Um, but I mean, like, and you know, someone's like advised this, and I'll have to just echo those words. Um, the expansion pass is definitely accessible. You just need to have like a group of friends or family to like jump in on that like subscription plan for you, because um I it's kind of I guess I could reason that you can definitely spend like 50 like bucks like a year like on a single one, but the family one is definitely affordable if you got a group. So like myself, I'm also part of a group that kind of like puts in money towards it, and so we'll just have a billing every year just for like the online experience, and that'll also come included with the Animal Crossing DLC, and now the Mario Kart DLC. So I think it's a really good deal if you have already have that like planned out. So literally, if you're one of those who have that plan, the courses will come out and you'll just have access to them, no problem. So yeah, I don't know what this will mean for the future of Mario Kart as far as like Mario Kart 9. I would say don't think about it. Just this is just a perfect excuse to kind of jump back into Mario Kart 8, because you know I haven't. But I know when I jump back in, it's gonna be like, oh, this is so nice. This is so nice. Anyway, so last topic I wanted to talk about real quick, before we wrap up, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So, I heard word, through the grapevine, Twitter, that Monolith was prepping something. But we didn't know anything else about that. All we know is that we just had this direct. So at the end of the direct, they had one last final thing that they wanted to show off, and it was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. From what they were saying, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 takes place in a timeline like in the future that connects both the events of the first one and the second one together. So that's a pretty, I wouldn't say that that's really a spoiler outright, but essentially it's going to connect the worlds. But in the setting for like 1 and 2 are kind of like separate, like they're just kind of like separate universes essentially, but with like similar like races and stuff like that. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is kind of essentially like an accumulation which could possibly lead to like some crazy stuff happening on, and I can only say as much as that going forward, because personally I don't have a lot of input on this one, because as far as like the lore on that, because I have like Definitive Edition, I have the second one. Y'all know the story. Definitive Edition was like a Black Friday sale. That was an easy cop. And then the second one, I was like, okay, the second one physically it's really hard to find, but it's not expensive, so I'm gonna just try eBay and make this work. And it was actually kind of worth it. Yeah. It was kind of worth it. Yeah, it was like really good packaging. I noticed though that the case, the Switch case for it, is not exactly like the Nintendo branded one. You can see that by just simply like the side of the case. As far as when you open it, like the grooves are different entirely. But if you just ignored that, it's the exact same dimension. It looks the exact same, like front and back. You just don't look at the side. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I need to jump into both. Which again, this is just adds yet another thing to like the whole bucket list of things I gotta do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's like Xenoblade Chronicles is kind of a testament to just like how like something that's so well received despite it not having such a great marketing for it, like goes for it. And there's also a bunch of other things that I don't even know about that came into the development and the distribution of the game. All I really know is that Xenoblade Chronicles 1 originally released on the Wii around 2008 to 2010, somewhere within the ballpark of that. And it's a weird thing where like it was localized over to the West, but it was something about the dubbing that was an issue. Apparently, there was kind of an unwantedness like in the dubbing department on that one, so obviously that kind of led to the whole, why does everyone have a British accent over there, right, in the first one? And so fast forward to the production of 2, obviously there was a lot more success in Xenoblade Chronicles 1. It got like a release on the new 3DS like console, and it got the definitive edition for Switch. But before the definitive edition, 2 came out, and apparently it did super successful to the point that like Monolith was able to like fund like yet like some more stuff, like Torna the Golden Country, which is like the additional add-on to the game. And then they had definitive edition, which is pretty much like, you know, to streamline the whole experience on the Switch title or the Switch console. And they added Future Connected, which was like an additional DLC bit there, so they were able to use some unused like stuff from the first game and add it onto like a whole DLC and just wrap it up in a nice package, call it definitive edition, call it a day. Oh look, we got a lot of popular and we got a lot of funds on that. We're making a third one. So I'm super happy for a lot of those who've been supporting the series, and honestly when I look at it, it looks really cool too. Music's absolutely banging, so I mean, like, you already got me, so this is what it is. In fact, like, these past couple of days I've been contemplating whether or not I should like go onto iTunes and get like the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 like soundtrack, like all of it. I got like one track. I only got one track, and it's like it's jazzy as hell, but it's so catchy and so upbeat. But that's all I gotta really say about Xenoblade Chronicles. I have to play like 1 and 2. I just haven't really had the time to do that. And you know why? Y'all know why. It's because I've been so busy with Pokemon shiny hunting and Turtwig. It's an absolute disaster, let me tell you that. Because so some context. So Pokemon Legends Arceus came out, right? And it has changed how we played Pokemon games in the past, and I think it's for the better. One of those things is actually shiny hunting. Something like a little, it's like a subclass of like how you would normally even play the game, right? Shiny hunting is like different. You're built different if you do shiny hunting. But they made the process of acquiring shinies a lot easier in that game. However, they did not do the same treatment per se in the remakes, which is Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Specifically, getting a shiny starter. And I've been spending, since like intermittently, I mean, it kind of depends on like if I have time to even do it. But let's just say like every other day I do a little bit of soft resetting, and I've been doing that since the release date of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which was, if you recall, sometime mid-November. I'm somewhere like after like 2400 soft resets, and there are some people who have spent 10,000 soft resets getting this a shiny starter, and it boggles my mind. But I said what I said, so I'm stuck in this like rut of like, I gotta do it. I have to like do the shiny hunt, and until I get that shiny, I'm not continuing the game any further. So it's definitely has caused a bit of a setback on all these different titles I want to try out. You see that whole line of, I think it's now 60 plus like physical Switch games, and just like some more like games over here too from Xbox and PlayStation. A lot of those have been held off because of this shiny hunt. It's taken up so much of my life, so like it comes to a point where it's like, if I have some downtime to play a video game, I'm like, let's do shiny hunting. That's pretty much what it is. So I've been trying to do it like off and on camera, but no dice. But this week has been like the luckiest for me as far as like any particular like shiny hunts. And I don't know what to tell you. It starts with Pokemon Legends. They have these mechanics called mass outbreaks, and the outbreaks just by default like raise your like odds of finding a shiny like dramatically. For context, just finding a regular like shiny out in the wild in other games is like, especially in the more current games, is like 1 out of 4,096, and the mass outbreaks reduces that, increases your odds to like 1 out of 800 something, like a huge jump. And people, because of how popular the game is, you're seeing a lot of people post them getting shinies online. I got one actually this past week, and that was Tangela. It's a Kanto starter, or not starter. Sorry, not starter. It's a weird Pokemon design, right? The shiny, it's a green variant, so you can easily spot it out. They also make it pretty easy for you to notice that it is a shiny, so definitely it was super cool for me to get a Tangela because I don't know, it's part of the Kanto region, and I don't really see a lot of Tangela like being shown off, so I'm happy that like it gets representation. I also came across a Vulpix, not in that game. Oddly enough, this is a full odds like encounter, right? But give me a second. Oh my god. But I came across this shiny Vulpix in Pokemon Sword on a new file out in the wild area. I don't know the odds, but I'm gonna assume it's still like 1 out of like 4,096. I just encountered a random shiny Vulpix, and that's like really, really lucky. Like, I have only come across like 2, 3, maybe 4, and now 5 or 4 just shinies out in the wild, full odds, without any type of like anticipation of one ever. And this is one of them. It was so wild, dude. Like, I couldn't even tell you, like, this was off camera. This was just me like accessing the sword, and I was like, oh, okay, you know what, let me just like slowly like progress through this story, slowly but like assuringly as possible. There was, I can't believe it, dude. I have it registered on Pokemon Home now, but you know, it's so crazy. Speaking of that, the Pokedex thing. So essentially, just to kind of like get you guys an idea of what I'm trying to do. So there is a total of 898 like Pokemon in total, and I kind of want to fill in the Pokedex through Pokemon Home to get those numbers, to get those entries in there. I like on my Pokemon profile specifically, I have like logged like a little bit over like 400 like caught Pokemon, or maybe that's the total, and I caught like 300. I'm close. Like accumulatively, if I was able to like push all Pokemon like towards like Pokemon Home, I'd be pretty close. So that's kind of a project I'm working on. There's some easier methods to do it. There's also like other fun methods I want to do, such as bring over like Game Boy Advance like Pacific games and transfer them all the way over to home. That's a little fun project. But yeah. There's also just like virtual console like Pokemon Yellow and Silver or Crystal that I'm working on. So that's pretty much everything that I want to kind of catch you up on. So work's been like pretty good. Pokemon's been pretty decent. Shiny hunting has been kind of good, but also there's still the Turtwig bit. And the Nintendo Direct was actually really, really good. I am so happy that it's consistent. Like there's not a lot of directs in a year, but it's kind of predicted as to when they do arrive, and I think it's super cool that they have like it spanned out like a lot. I will say there was no Breath of the Wild stuff. I was really kind of hoping for it, but that just means that Breath of the Wild is just a potential winter game to come out, so it is what it is. In the meantime, February is still jam packed. We got Elden Ring, we got Horizon like Forbidden West. For fighting game fans, there's KOF 15. Oh, actually, if there's any Atelier fans, actually, there's Atelier Sophie too. Recently, I got like the mysterious like trilogy pack, which is not even like a physical game that like was released like locally here in the West. It was actually like imported over here. So because the region locking or the region free Switch, I have access to that now. So I was kind of on the fence, but you know, maybe I'll eventually get Sophie too as well. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, all right. I guess I'll go ahead and call it here. What's happening later today actually is going to be our D&D session. So there may not be an evening stream because D&D takes a lot of time. I've learned that last time. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and call it here. It's been a good just review of Nintendo Direct, and I'm really looking forward to a lot of the games here. I'm happy that oh, actually, you know what? I was gonna say, I love the fact that Nintendo has like all these games that like I'm really like into, but I do feel bad about the Xbox because I really do like the Xbox itself. But I want to give quick shout outs too because Game Pass actually has released a couple of new games. For those who are big on indie or maybe big on an RPG, to satisfy both, they got a game called Skull, right? It's actually a pretty recent game. If I could say anything, maybe it's like a platform hack and slash 2D. Pretty much you as Skull and Bones fighting essentially heroes, so you just end up getting stronger like over time. Just to kind of keep it like really brief, because the next thing I want to talk about is a game that I've been keeping a close eye on. It's a game called Edge of Eternity. Is an RPG that like has caught my eye for a little bit, and it's now on Game Pass. So I'm like, I can just, but it's yet another game to add to the docket of like things I got. It's just like I'm not streaming, just playing. I was like, God, there's so many. But that is definitely a first world problem, so I'm gonna just keep like my complaints really brief on that. But yeah, okay. But yeah, also PlayStation's like doing good. Seafood just recently came out. I have not gotten the game myself, but it's definitely a game that I'd be kind of interested in like trying out too. It's just, how am I gonna, how am I just gonna, but anyway, I will go ahead and formally wrap it here. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Shout outs to Axe, shout outs to Beefling, shout outs to Kirby, shout outs to Nintendo, shout outs to Xbox, shout outs to everybody, shout outs to fam, shout outs to thank you. I'd like to thank you so much for the award. I'd like to bring up okay, no, we're good. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next podcast. Again, we do these like every Saturday. I think we've established it to be 3 p.m. Pacific time at this time, and I think we're totally okay with that as far as like the availability of a lot of other people. This was kind of an unlucky call, but for everyone else, just remember that the streaming schedule for Twitch is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, where we cover mainly, like right now, Pokemon, but could just be any game, maybe RPG focus. And what was it, Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time, or whenever it decides to release, is a My Hero Academia manga stream. So we got a new one that's coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that around that Pacific time zone and just time period. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, no, I don't think anything else will sneak up on this one. So otherwise, feel free, check out the Discord channel as well. It's you can find it. It's somewhere down here, command, if you will, or what have you. I think there's also a link below as well, if you like scroll further down. But that's kind of where I kind of give you guys like updates and postings on when I go live. If you're not on Twitch and you don't get that notification whatsoever, I know that there's a notification like bell as well, so feel free to like click on that if that's like really what you want to do as well. Yeah, otherwise we also have Twitter as well that I sometimes update, so we'll see. Best thing is just Discord, keep it personal, keep it within the group community. But yeah, all right, gonna call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one. #bye everyone.